Around 2014, I built my very first PC with a GTX 770 and other PC specs I can't remember. At the time it was a giant leap from my terrible laptop, and I was excited to finally dive into the world of Skyrim modding. I'd been watching Skyrim mod videos since the game's release, and couldn't wait to make it look as gorgeous as I possibly could. I finally had a bunch of graphics mods installed, and for 2014 it looked amazing. But still I was sitting just below 60 FPS, and I couldn't install all the very best graphics mods on offer. So I thought to myself, boy, I can't wait for a few years' time when I can upgrade my PC and play Skyrim at its very best. In 2018, I had a new PC with a GTX 1080, and once again I immediately modded Skyrim, and again it looked amazing. But still I was sitting just below 60 FPS, and I couldn't install the very best graphics mods on offer. So I thought to myself, boy, I can't wait for a few years' time when I can upgrade my PC and play Skyrim at its very best. In 2020, I upgraded to an RTX 3080, I modded Skyrim, and thought to myself, boy, I can't wait for a few years' time when I can upgrade my PC and play Skyrim at its very best. At the end of 2024, I built a whole new PC with an RTX 4080, a Ryzen 7 800 and so on. And I think you can see where this is leading. I installed the incredible looking Row Modlist, but couldn't keep a stable 60 FPS unless using an upscaler, which makes the game a little blurry. And so I thought to myself, boy, I can't wait for a few years' time when I can upgrade my PC and play Skyrim at its very best. There's this trend of never being quite satisfied. And while the example I've given focuses on having the best looking game as possible, I think the problems extend across all of Skyrim modding. And it's a problem I think a lot of people share. I recently posted a poll on my channel asking the question, are you able to stick with a modded playthrough of Skyrim, or do you find yourself restarting with new mods over and over? Around 300 people answered. 34% said they're able to stick with a modded playthrough, 25% said they usually add mods during a playthrough, and the majority 41% said they mostly start over and over again with different mods. It's something that's become a constant joke in the modding community. Whenever I see a post of someone's high-level modded character, there's always comments saying, wait, you actually play the game? So I was just thinking about this issue, the cause and solutions for it, and thought I'd make a video. Now of course it's not a problem for everyone. There's plenty of people who find modding to be the fun part, like treating Skyrim as a canvas to work on to see what you can create, or simply making it look as good as possible so you can walk around a bit and take in the sights. But I think for a lot of people, including myself, you constantly add mods with the vision of this perfectly tailored game you'll play at the end, only for interest to drop off once you actually play it, especially because you feel like it could be even better. The first, and I'd probably say the biggest cause of this, is that Skyrim modding is too good. There's around 100 mods uploaded every day on Nexus, and if you check what's new and popular every week or so, you're gonna find something you like. And that's on top of the hundreds of thousands of mods that already exist. And the thing is, we're at the point where so many of the new mods are small tweaks that it feels like there's no reason not to install them. Take the mod author JSerper for example. They'll upload immersive mods like NPCs react to invisibility, where now there's small voiced reactions when you use invisibility magic around them. Now, do I need this mod? No. Will it greatly improve my game? No. How often will I even see it in use? Barely ever. In fact, I've always installed it since it released in 2023, yet I don't think I've ever even used invisibility magic in any playthrough I've started since then. But the thing is, why not install it? It doesn't conflict with anything, it doesn't affect performance in any way, it's easy to install, and most importantly, it's only an improvement. There's literally no downsides. But that's the thing, there's too many mods with little to no downsides, and so by not installing them, I feel like I'm missing out. Now I think the best solution to this is simply having some self-discipline and not constantly checking what's new. As painful as the fear of missing out can be, not constantly checking Nexus and watching the best mods of the month videos is definitely one of the best ways of sticking with your mod list. But then that leads people to another problem. When is the mod list complete? At what point do you think, okay, I'm done, let's start a playthrough? A comment on my poll said that they've played with so many mods that now a list using 700 feels quite simple. And honestly, I feel the same way. With so many great mods that add just the slightest changes, it's very easy to make a mod list of that size that still feels vanilla friendly. So now the lower end of load orders are in the high hundreds, which just makes it easier to fall into that mindset of, oh, I've installed this many, I might as well install more. Because if I have 700 mods, then why not keep going at that point? And of course, the larger the list, the more chances there are for problems. Like, it's pretty depressing how many times I've spent an entire day setting up Skyrim, finally starting a new character, and then encountering a huge bug or having my game crash a few hours in, completely ruining my momentum. So yeah, it's important to have the mentality of knowing when to stop. With so many mods that get added every day, it's just overwhelming to figure out what the essentials are, which is why so many people now turn to pre-made mod lists. With their popularity growing over the past few years, a lot of people turn to those instead of even attempting to mod the game themselves, which goes for me as well. Like, I have modded a fresh Skyrim install too many times over the past decade, and I am over it. Now, there are still issues with always waiting for the Modlist author to update it, instead of just playing, because again, the fear of missing out is strong, and you don't want to play an outdated version of a list that hasn't included 12 new mods. But like before, you just gotta stop checking what's new. Then that leads us to another big hurdle, and that is how the game should play. What is Skyrim to you? As someone who has tested countless mod lists for this channel, it's fascinating to see just how vastly different everyone's ideal version of Skyrim is. It's ironic because pre-made mod lists are there to make things easier, yet now there's thousands of lists on offer. Do you want a hardcore survival experience? A fast-paced hack and slash? A Souls-like experience? Or even a romance sim? And from there, what style of graphics do you want? What about performance? How vanilla friendly is it? Does it work with controller? There's so many variables that now people will jump from mod list to mod list because they're unsure what exactly it is they're looking for. And it's quite hard to know if a mod list is for you without playing it for a good amount. So if you start a playthrough, then realise you're not really vibing with it, you're back to square one and can think, ugh, I'll just play another game, only to repeat the cycle not long after. And the final hurdle to sticking with a playthrough is that honestly, I think for a lot of people, what Skyrim is actually a lot less fun than the idea of what Skyrim could be. What I mean by this is that there's the idea of the dream playthrough, the perfectly modded experience that you spend hundreds of hours with, the ultimate RPG. Yet even if you manage to get close to that, quite often after the 10, 20, 30 hour mark, it's natural to just feel like, okay, I've actually had my fill of Skyrim for now. More often than not, I see people on the Skyrim subreddit saying they struggle to get past the level 30 mark, including myself. I think it's a pretty common problem, and much of it is just down to how Skyrim is designed. If I start a game like Mass Effect, Red Dead 2 or Cyberpunk, I'm playing to completion because there's a very clear beginning, middle and end narrative. But Skyrim is lots of smaller stories you can pick and choose from at your own pace, and that level of freedom with no end in sight can often lead to burnout if you don't have a set goal. So either you actually set yourself goals and stick to them, or just accept that Skyrim is the type of game you drop in and out of every now and then, which is completely fine. Unfortunately, it just means you're more likely to restart a new playthrough with new mods each time because you forget where you left off. At the end of the day, Skyrim's insane modding scene is like nothing that's come before, and we're all just trying to figure out how to navigate it as it still becomes larger and larger with each passing day. The main thing is that you're finding enjoyment, not just from the game but the modding side as well. Checking out the latest mods is a hobby in itself. I saw someone compare it to having a model train set, where you can spend all your time crafting this perfect looking scenery, checking the local craft store every day to check for new pieces to add and getting a dopamine hit whenever there's some new tree you like the look of. And instead of sitting back at a completed model and feeling done with it, you might miss that dopamine hit of adding something new. So why not go for it? And so, either apply the tips I mentioned to help stick with a playthrough, or embrace the joy you feel of forever crafting the perfect Skyrim. Thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments your opinions on this stuff, because I enjoy talking about it. It's obviously, modding is a huge part of not just this channel, but like every game I play. It's a hobby of mine, so I like seeing people's takes on it, and it was nice to just rant about something for once. It's been a while. Also, I'd like to give a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters: Keaton Kruger, Shaquille Martin, Mr. Zud, Gorthan, Connor Peterson, John Ratz, Ter Ora, and Christian Howell. This channel's been going for a few years now, and with these lovely contributions it means I can keep focusing on it for years to come. And thank you everyone, and farewell.